Today we're gonna do apple pirozhki. Apple pirozhki. Everybody loves these pirozhkis. So let me show you how I make them. Today we're gonna show you how to make simple apple tarts that we've been making all the time, all throughout the years. Everybody loves them. They're so simple. Babushka is cutting whatever we had. Some apples, some pears. You can throw berries if you want to. Sour cherries are wonderful for it. My family, kids love apple. I'll show you later how I make it. So this is puff pastry. It is available probably in supermarkets. It's already cut into small squares. This packet has 36 of them. They're all there's paper in between them, parchment paper, so they don't stick. Puff pastry is hard to make. It takes a lot of butter, but it's very nice and flaky. And this is what I'm gonna use to roll up the pirozhki, apple pirozhki. I put a little bit of the cinnamon and no sugar whatsoever. I like to minimize the amount of sugar, and my kids are used to it. So I just put powdered sugar on top. And so I make batches of these. I'll show you how to roll them up when Sasha comes down and records me. But I make a bunch of these little pillows filled up, and then I freeze them and bake them whenever I want to, so they don't have to be immediately baked. They freeze very well, and I put them in the little Ziploc bags. And they're for any occasion. I promise you, you don't have to fill them up with fruits. They could be savory too. So for instance, you can cook some meat, grind it, mix with fried onions, or even just take ground meat and cook it up on the skillet with onions and garlic. That could be a filling. It could also cook a cabbage. You can also boil some eggs and cut them, cube them, and mix them with scallions and dill, maybe a little mayo, and mix them up, and that makes also wonderful filling, and it's a savory filling. And then I'll put them in the freezer, and I'll show you how they hold when they're very simple. Take a piece of dough, put just a little bit. Don't overflow it because they open up very easily. And clip them hard. So the dough has to be cold. This particular, see, I have the tail end of it. I already made the batch, so it's getting softer. You don't want this dough soft. When it softens, it loses its structure and texture. And all the puff pastry is, it's layers and layers and layers of butter. And when it starts to soften, it melts. The butter is melting. It's losing the structure. So it loves coldness. So this is how you make them. And as I said, you can make them with any filling that you like to have. Experiment. It doesn't have to be apple. So I'm gonna show one more, just in case you're watching it up and close. Put here on the table if it's hard to hold, and connect all the ends. And it's better to cut the fruits even smaller. My mom cut these, and they're a little bit too big, because you want every pirozhok to have a lot of fruit in it, and not open up. And if you cut it small, you'll have a lot of fruit and it won't open up. And so they are done. They are done. See how they opened up? As I told you, if it's cut too big, and If the apples cut too big, or whatever fruit you're using, pears, whatever fruit you like, then they open up. So make sure you pinch them really well when you cook them. I would cook them at 350 for 35 minutes. And if you want them a little more golden, you'll leave them for a little bit longer. But this is it. So they are finished products. Now what we do now, take a little pot of sugar. And you go like such. Remember I told you I don't add sugar to my apples because I sprinkled powder on top. Well, this is the reason why. This is enough sugar. This is probably a little bit less than a tablespoon. And so it is.